Hey guys, Jess from Knockout Print Shop, and today I wanted to do a whole different video with you guys. I wanted to go over my January reflection with you. So we created our monthly reflection inserts, and they were inspired from different things that we saw online, and also some things that I think, from being a former psychotherapist and life coach, some things that I think are helpful for people to think about as they kind of go through, their lives and are trying to improve things and make them better. I didn't think I was going to be interested in using this, but I kept it in my planner from when we took pictures. And after the kind of month I had in January, which I thought was a pretty good month, I'm like, I actually think this tool might be useful to me too, and I should probably use it. I don't use all the stuff that we make, guys. Sometimes you guys inspire stuff that isn't relevant to me, and I don't use it, but this is something that I think is actually pretty cool now that I've done it. So I'm going to go over my January reflection with you. And I also would love if you guys watch this and you can leave a comment below and let me know if you would rather me do videos like this where you can see my face on the camera versus just looking at this piece of paper the whole time. I don't know if you want to see a lovely face, if that even matters. Okay, so let's just go over this. Let me know that too. Okay, so the first section you'll see here is memories or highlights. So when I was thinking about this, it was kind of a weird thing because I thought, well, what does that mean to me? What do memories and highlights mean? And I've never really reflected on my month like that and thought about, oh, well, this was a good month because this happened or that happened. And it actually, I had a hard time kind of reflecting, even though, I could look back on Instagram and look at the cool or funny or fun things we did. I was like, well, what does this mean for me? And then I thought kind of maybe what I should think about is like what this month brought me joy, or what was a thing that sticks out in my mind. And there was three things that came to mind for me. So Matt and I we live in Raleigh, we went over to Winston-Salem to meet with his family that lives close to there and have lunch. And on our way back, we were like, let's get coffee. And we were close to Greensboro. And we randomly found this place online that was called Geeksboro Battle Pub. And it was like a coffee shop, a bar, and like a video game playing place and an arcade, and they had pinball. So we went in and we had like lattes and played pinball, and it was awesome and hilarious and so fun. Like, I've not played pinball since I don't even know when, and it was so fun. So that was kind of a random fun adventure. Buying my Monstera plant, because I've been wanting a Monstera plant forever, and it was like buying a new pet. I was so happy, and Matt has these funny pictures of me like in our car hugging my Monstera plant, so that was fun. And then we went out last week to try to do a photo shoot for my new podcast that I'm going to launch, the cover, and I suck at being photographed. I don't mind being on video, but I can't pose to save my life. And just put it this way, it was hilarious. I looked hilarious. I just could not channel my inner, I don't know, Instagram blogger person. It just did not work. So those are my highlights or memories. Accomplishments, I would say one of my favorite or biggest accomplishments from this month was we really improved our morning routine and kind of have a better schedule now. I can talk more about that in a second. Another accomplishment was that we finally were able to create these dividers and create a solution for you guys for the dividers that were made by Ingle Press that everyone just not happy with. So that was pretty cool. And everybody seems to be loving those. And then the third accomplishment was that I've recorded about 5 now rough draft podcasts, getting ready to launch my podcast. So I was pretty happy that I finally got my shit together and did that. Okay, lessons learned. So when I kind of reflect back and like, what are the 1 to 3 things that I learned this month? One of the biggest things I learned was how important morning routines are. So Matt and I had kind of stumbled on a video, and I can't remember, she's a super popular blogger, YouTube person. I cannot remember what her name is. But she talks about block scheduling, and I was like, I wonder if that could work for us, because we don't really have structure. I mean, we have structure in place, like we have a routine, but we also have a lot of flexibility because we work from home, we work out from home, we don't have kids, we don't have things going on that would structure our day with appointments. So we started with like, let's create a morning block. And so from 7:30 to 10:30, these are the things we have to get done. And then once that block is over, we can go into like work mode or next block. And so by doing that, it's really reduced our stress level about like, oh, we should be working now, or we should be doing this. And it says, okay, no, these are the things we have to do from 7:30 to 10:30. And it just kind of felt a lot more freeing than feeling like we always should be doing something else. And since we've done that, we've started getting up a little bit earlier. We've had a better routine. We've gotten more done with work. We felt less stressed. So morning routines have been huge. There's still some things I want to tweak for mine. But all in all, I'm really happy with how that's gone. The second thing that I've learned is something it's like one of those practice what you preach. One habit at a time is so essential. And I've preached that and preached that and preached that, that no more than 1 to 3 habits. Just, our psyches are not set up to handle a lot of change. And I really wanted to kind of make an effort more than I had so in the past to really create some new habits. And so I really did use my habit tracker this month. And this has been hugely helpful because just putting the stickers down every week was not working for me. So seeing this every day and moving it every week has been very helpful. I wanted to get good with taking my cod liver oil every day and make that part of my morning routine. I wanted to practice French every day and then my GMB training. So what I realized was when you're really intent and committed to a habit, as silly as it may seem, something as simple as like, well, let me take my cod liver every morning. Well, that takes like a second. Why is it so hard then to do this one? I did fine, but my practicing French, I didn't do so great. But why is it so hard to integrate a lot of new things at once? But it's because of the same thing I always preach about, that our psyche does not like a lot of change at once. So I really realized if you really want to master a habit, I think what I would suggest to people is really intently focus on one thing. And once you've got it down about 90%, like if your score is 90% at the end of a month and it's becoming more automatic, then you can add the next habit. But if you're still teetering on that 80% or less, and you try to add on new habits, or you're trying to do multiple at one time, it's just not as impactful and as sustainable and useful as focusing on one habit at a time. So I feel really good about where I'm at with that and seeing the point of like building momentum and then slowly adding new things on. And then the third thing I think I learned was how important it is to have a habit tied to other habits and other things that are already routine to you. I've known this for a long time, studied it, having studied psychology and life coaching and human behavior. But with not doing so well as with accomplishing my goal of practicing French every day, I realized the reason that happened was because I didn't tie it to any other routine. And it was just kind of this, well, I need to do this today. I need to do this today. And it kind of got done and it kind of didn't. So that's definitely the lesson I learned this month. So then this section talks about our habits, the score, what helped and hurt us, and what we're going to do next. So like I talked about already, my first habit was to take my cod liver every day, and I did that every day except for one, so I have like a 97%. I made it part of my breakfast, even to the point where if I almost forgot, Matt would be like, did you take your cod liver oil? So it's even helpful to have somebody else that's like, that's part of your routine, did you do that? And just kind of as a reminder, or maybe you're somebody that needs like a reminder on your phone to do something, but me knowing that was part of breakfast, eat breakfast, or take cod liver, eat breakfast, that really helped me. Part of me, my like, I don't need to track this anymore, part of my brain was like, don't worry about it. You've got this now. You've done it for 30 days. I'm going to track this one for one more month. And I really want to solidify this. I don't feel like it's quite automatic yet. So I think I'm going to keep it up and track cod liver oil, my success and progress with that daily one more month before I kind of take it off as something that I'm hyper focused on. Number 2, my French habit. I got about a 77%. And like I said, it was way too random. Most of the time I'd remember to do it by the evening and I was tired, and then I'm like, oh, I have to do this now because I don't want to not do it because I'm supposed to do it every day. And then I actually wasn't doing that well because I was tired. So my next step is, what hurt me was just too random. It wasn't tied to anything. What I need to do next is create a schedule. I either need to make it part of my morning routine or find some other activity that it's tied to that makes it easier. Matt and I are going to work on, we really did well this month with our morning block. We're going to work on what we're going to call our evening block, which is going to be like 8:30 to 10:30 or 11. And I'm going to figure out what things I want to accomplish in that time frame. And I think if I can make one of those things French and make it part of my evening routine in a more purposeful way, that will help. I think the other thing I'm going to do is not expect myself to do it every day. I'm going to set a different goal. So I'll show you guys that in a minute too. Number 3 was my GMB practice. I got 100% with that. I found that, there was times when I was doing it late at night and it just wasn't, I would still do it because I was very committed to it. And there was a program in place that I purchased that I was doing. So I felt very committed to the program and the way it was supposed to be structured. And I'm kind of a neurotic in that way. So that made it easier. But once I started making it part of my morning routine, it got even easier. So I'm going to keep up with this and I'm not going to track it anymore. I already track it kind of in my program that I get printed out and I check it off each day and it's kind of its own thing. So I don't need to track it in my planner anymore. So yeah, I felt pretty good about that. So I'm probably going to come up with another habit to work on next month, a little bit and see how that goes. Okay, so goals, projects that are completed, in progress, in next month. So business goal we completed, we got the dividers launched, we completed by kind of nailing our morning routine, and my plants are still alive, so that's good. So like when I look back at my mission board, I started this video with this, right? Oh my God, I've been talking for 10 minutes and I don't even remember. So I kind of was thinking about these are my goals and projects and things and kept my plants alive, so that's good. I have my 2 peace lilies aren't doing so hot, but everything else is doing well. What's in progress? Still my podcast prep, so I've done a lot to get that ready, and it's almost ready, so that's kind of in progress. And next month, I'm going to launch the podcast, so that's going to be a goal that I'm going to kind of materialize. And then I need to come up with a new kind of savings plan. And at first I was like, oh, new savings and retirement plan. I'm like, whoa. Pump the brakes, Jess, one thing at a time. Practice what you preach. And I think that's really what I'm learning is truly one thing at a time is so much more productive. So what I'm going to do with the savings plan is we put savings away every month, but I want to restructure it kind of like where we pay ourselves first. And I'll talk about that more in a second. And then the last thing I want to focus on is doing one thing fun and adventurous every month. We only have about 3-4 more months left in Raleigh, and we want to make sure we hit some places and some things that we had wanted to do and kind of step out a little bit from our comfort zone of just going to lunch. Like maybe we go to an indoor rock climbing thing or a new museum or something fun and different. So that's going to be at least once a month. Okay, things I'm grateful for this month. I'm grateful for those that are more knowledgeable than me that share their wisdom. There's so many great people out there that are credible experts on different topics, and it's really cool, I think, when people take the time to put out real quality, educated, informational content and share that with the world, and their mission is just to make people better. So I feel like very grateful that I stumble onto some really awesome people. Number 2, Matt's hardworking attitude and ability to keep me sane. Matt is very task-oriented and gets a lot done, and he helps me not try to overdo things. So his more get things done and move on versus get things done and then keep doing tons and tons and tons of more shit is definitely helped keep me sane this month. And then the last thing is the encouragement for friends to try new things. When it comes to the podcast, Matt, my old strength coach, Jason, and a lot of other people have been so supportive of me doing the podcast thing and just trying new things, and I'm very grateful for that. So I'd rate this month at a 9 out of 10. It was a pretty good month, learned a lot of things. There's obviously some things I still want to tweak. And then my theme for the month and my word would be start. I think that's the key, is like remembering nothing has to be perfect. Like you just got to start. And a lot of that word kind of is what embodied a lot of the success that I've had this month. Okay, so before I pop off, now that we're 15 minutes in and who knows who's listening at this point, here's my mission board for February. So I tweaked a few things. Home is still plant parent life. Keeping my plants alive, learning more about my plants, and, being a plant nerd. I tweaked my me time. Last month, was the practice French every day. So we went over that a lot in detail here. That did not work out. I need to scale this back so I can be successful and build momentum. So I'm going to say I'm going to practice French 3 times a week. I'm going to probably track this in maybe a daily box. And set a schedule for myself, time and what day of the week. So that's going to be helpful there. Cod liver oil is still going strong, and talked about that already. And last month I put meditate 5 minutes a day and then practice GMB. Well, GMB is kind of its own thing. It's doing fine. I am going to start meditating. I'm probably going to add this in my morning routine. I think I'm going to keep it to as low as 5 minutes. I don't know how many times a week I'm going to do it. Part of me, the perfectionist, wants to say every day, but I also don't want to set myself up for failure. So I need to give that more thought, but that's what I'm going to do there. Talked about the Be Social, one adventure out of the house. Financial, improve savings plan and pay yourself first. So, a lot of financial gurus would tell you need to pay yourself first. And when you have a structured paycheck that you get, once a month, twice a month, every other week, every week, whatever, it's not easier. It's a different way to look at things. Like you can say, okay, well, this is how much I make a month, and I'm going to put this much in savings. That's the rest for bills. That's the rest allocated for expenses. For us, even though we pay ourselves the same every month. And regardless of the fluctuating profit of of the print shop from month to month, some months make more, and that pads the months that make less, and we kind of, again, pay ourselves the same amount. But that means that the months that you make more, as we live way below our means, that we have excess sitting in our business account that's just sitting there, and the business account is a regular business checking, and it doesn't accrue but maybe a percent of interest. So what I'm going to do now at the end of every month, we'll start this month clearly, and I'll do it for January, is look at the P&L, our profit and loss, and see how much more profit we made than we needed to pay ourselves, and transfer that money to our interest-bearing savings account so that we don't have all this money accumulating that's not needed for upcoming expenses or monthly expenses in the business account. So that's kind of what I mean about that. And I'm just going to focus on that for right now and play around with that before I start diving deeper into other investments and doing beyond what we're doing for our current IRA and things like that. Dream Big is launch the podcast this month, and then business is create new content. So things like this video. So I know we've been doing our weekly releases, but I also want to create some more content for you guys so that it's not just always releases. Okay, so that is my January reflection, goal setting, mission board video. We're at 17 minutes. Thank you for sticking around. If you did, please comment below and let me know what you think of this video. If you think, Jess, that wasn't that helpful, or yes, it was helpful, or I'd rather maybe have it with a camera pointing so it can see your face and you can just kind of talk us through it versus looking at this piece of paper the whole time. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Just playing around with different video content to see how I can be helpful to you guys. I will see you in the next one.